Well, December is celebrated globally as AIDS Awareness Month, and officials from the Ministry of Health have embarked on an information campaign with the hope of reducing infection rates. HIV and AIDS is transmitted through sex, through blood transfusions, and the sharing of needles. In this week's edition of Things You Should Know, Cleopatra Murphy takes a look at HIV and AIDS, once considered a death sentence, but one health official says it no longer has to be.
32 million people across the globe have died of HIV up to the end of 2018, based on statistics from the World Health Organization. Since the epidemic began in the 1980s, advancements with antiretroviral drugs, however, are saving countless lives. At home in the Bahamas, Acting Director of the National HIV/AIDS Center, Nurse Brunishka Lewis, says 5,287 people are currently living with HIV, while a number of people have died from AIDS-related illnesses. Based on 2017 statistics, she says the 30 to 39 age group accounted for the highest rate of new HIV infections. Lewis explains the nature of HIV.
This virus, it attacks the cells, they're those white blood cells, and as a result, if a person does not receive any treatment, any medication, all their soldiers, their white blood cells, eventually they get very low in number, and that person could progress to AIDS, which is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. So a person can be living with HIV but not have AIDS. But once they start to develop certain opportunistic infections and their CD4 cell count gets low, then that person will advance to AIDS.
The primary symptoms of HIV include fever, headache, sore throat, and painful mouth sores, among others. Untreated HIV takes about 10 years before it becomes full-blown AIDS, with symptoms inclusive of soaking night sweats, recurring fever, chronic diarrhea, and weight loss. Lewis says disease progression depends on an individual's health prior to infection and their access to antiretroviral therapy.
Once we get persons on their medication, they take the medication properly every day consistently, they're going to end up what we call virally suppressed or have an undetectable viral load. This is important because this is going to reduce the chance of them transmitting HIV sexually to their partners, to their sexual partners, or if it's a woman who's pregnant, it will reduce the chance of her passing the infection on to her child.
When it comes to treatment, Lewis says the Bahamas has signed on to the Treat All initiative, which removes all eligibility limitations for antiretroviral therapy. And once someone is diagnosed with HIV, they are started on medication immediately, and it is accessible.
HIV medication, the antiretroviral therapy, is completely free of cost to the client here in the Bahamas. The only thing you need is a valid prescription. And your prescription can come from a private physician, and we would honor that. So a lot of persons may say, oh, I see doctor privately, so I have to purchase this medication. No. If you want to see doctor privately, that's awesome. And if you want to come to us to fill the prescription, we will honor that, and you will not have to pay anything.
Lewis says the drugs are comparable to what are used in the U.S., and most importantly, they work and have been saving lives. Cleopatra Murphy, ZNS Network News.